This is an Unsolicited Perspectives YouTube exclusive.
Jay, I wanted to talk about something that is near and dear to both of our hearts, and that is mental health.
Yes.
So, a friend of mine was dating somebody
Mhm.
and explained to the person that they were dating. It was like, I suffer from ADHD and some mental health issues, but I go to therapy and I'm getting them worked out. And the person decided that they didn't believe in mental health and therapy and things of that nature and was no longer interested in dating the person. It was just like, I don't understand why you just can't deal with stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. I was like, you avoided a really difficult situation because I don't understand how people don't understand that mental health is a real issue. And I understand in certain demographics and older demographics, we have this stigma that's attached to mental health, but
Yeah, for sure.
mental health is absolutely a thing. And so I just wanted to talk about how the fact that there's still people out there that's just like, nah, I'm not rocking with mental health.
Well, as hard as it is as a millennial living in the United States to believe, there are people without generalized anxiety. There are people who do not suffer from depression. And so they can sympathize, but they can't empathize. Right?
Mm,
There are neurotypical people. Most people are neurotypical. And so, you know, for them, unless they've had someone close to them that has, battled with mental health issues in their lifetime and they actually see it and experience it, the most, somebody can do is sympathize, but not empathize. But there are things that we'll do that'll be different and they don't understand why. Like a good example is I, oh, a lot of people know because I talk about it, I have ADHD. I am recently diagnosed, so I did not know my entire life that my issues with attention and executive dysfunction were not because I was lazy or anything like that. It was because I have ADHD. So every time if I had an issue at work or something like that, or at school with time management, people would always give me all these time management techniques and tips, right? And I would try them and they would work for a little while and then they wouldn't, or they wouldn't at all. And I couldn't understand why these things work for other people, but they don't work for me. And until I was diagnosed and I realized, oh, the tips and tricks that I have to use are different, right? They're not, nobody is better or worse, but it's just different. I have to do things in a different way. And when I came to understand that, I also came to understand that other people, neurotypical people, might not understand that I can't do things the same way you do them. And so I kind of understand a little bit where that person's coming from. Not that they don't think mental health is a real thing. Just like your physical health, your mental health, you need to check in on that. That is a real thing. And anybody who has suffered from burnout can tell you, and that at least that's most people. Everybody has had an issue where they've suffered from burnout, right? You might not have like a prolonged mental health issue, but everybody has had temporary ones, right? So I could kind of understand where they're coming from, because it is anybody who is neurotypical and dates somebody who is not neurotypical, neurospicy, I like to say, there is a certain not burden on your partner, but there is a different, there is kind of a little bit of a burden on your partner,
it is a
especially if
burden.
you're somebody who suffers from major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety or things like you have panic attacks, things like that. Your partner is going through that with you, and so if I know you think I got it under control. I'm on medication. I'm in therapy, but if that's something that your partner doesn't want to take on, I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of understand that. Completely invalidating my experience is not cool. Um, but I can understand if, you know, dealing with mood swings and things like that, if that's just not something that you want to take on, like I get that,
No,
unfortunately.
yeah. So, like, I agree with that. You're right. The not validating what I'm telling you I'm going through is
Mhm.
insulting.
Yes.
But I had a friend, and my friend and I were dating similar type of women.
Hmm.
Um, the women that we were dating had some mental health issues. The one I was dating had more severe mental health issues, really, really strong anxiety and depressive issues.
Hmm.
That was a burden to me, whether I realized it or not. I had to change up the way I moved and responded to certain things to accommodate her.
Yeah.
So it was a burden. I never thought of it like that. I thought of
Yeah.
it was, this is a person that I care about. This is my world.
Yeah.
But my friend said, yeah, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
And I thought at the time, I was like, yo, you being real insensitive, how you not gonna support somebody that you care about. But also now that I'm older, I realize, you know what? Like some things people can take on, some things they can't. And that's
Yeah.
good that my friend knew his limitations and just was like, yo, that's too much for me. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you're right, the invalidate. And I
Yeah.
think this is what I'm not trying to get pumped up by the manosphere at all. So let me be careful about how I phrase this. There is something to be said about men who open up to women and explain the things that they are going through,
Hmm.
and women responding. Not all women do this, first of all. So you manosphere, don't co-sign this, okay?
Yeah.
And women responding to the fact that a man is opening up by, like, be a man, like, just deal with it,
Yeah.
right?
Because again, patriarchy,
Yes.
it doesn't just affect men, it affects women as well. There are a lot of women who still subscribe to those kind of traditional and very myopic ways of viewing masculinity. Like a man is supposed to be tough, strong, steely, don't show any emotion. Like there are still like very many women who, and guess what? Uh, I don't know how y'all relationships are going.
Well,
Dating
there's
dating people like that.
and
But
guess what? There's some men out there that are just like, that's the way I want to be. That's the way
yeah,
my dad was. That's the way my granddaddy was. That's the way I want to be. And you know
yeah,
what? By all means, go ahead and die of a heart attack or stroke at 55. But I'm not holding that stuff inside no more.
yeah. And also date each other. Stop
Yeah.
terrorizing the rest of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like no, I can definitely see it. None of us lives in isolation, right? Like the things that we go through do affect the people around us, and
Mhm.
so you do have to be cognizant of that. Like it's not just your anxiety or your depression or your ADHD or autism or uh OCD or whatever. It doesn't just affect you. Like it will also affect your partner as well. So like you just have to give them grace also, because like they're not mental health professionals 9 times out of 10. I mean, maybe you're
Mhm.
dating a mental health professional, but 9 times out of 10, you probably not. And
Right.
so they're not going to always say the right thing. They're not going to always do the right thing. And you just have to have grace and compassion for each other. But you also have to have a little grace for somebody who says, I don't know that that's something that I can take on. I don't know that I'm equipped to take that on. But
Yeah.
you can't invalidate people's experience. Oh, that's not real. That doesn't exist. Why can't you just get over it? Because if I knee you in the testicles and I ask you to just get over it, you would look at me like I'm crazy. So it's the same thing. It's health, right? It's
And
our
also
bodies.
and also for those people that are saying just get over it because they feel like they just get over whatever they're dealing with, you're not.
you're
Suppressing it,
you're
but not
suppressing
getting
it
over it.
because
It's
as
gonna
soon
rear
as
its
I
ugly
bring
head.
it up,
Yep.
you talk about it at
Uh-huh.
length, and
Yep.
I can only respond. It seems like you fully moved on from this experience. because you absolutely haven't. You have not dealt with it at all. You're
At
just
all.
suppressing it.
There's nothing wrong with addressing the things that bother you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with getting help when you need help. You can't figure it all out yourself. And guess what? You can pray on it, But one of God's answers to prayer is mental health professionals. So,
Yes.
it's just like
Yeah.
he answered your prayer. He told
Yeah.
you where to go and what you do. You just
Yeah.
gotta listen to him.
Yeah, I helped
So
you get that job with that good health insurance so that you can go ahead and get you some mental health. I put
it's all
that
connected.
BetterHelp ad on your Instagram for a reason.
Yeah. BetterHelp is actually really good. But ladies and gentlemen, take care of your mental health. And that is a YouTube exclusive.
Join the conversation and follow the Unsolicited Perspectives podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio podcasts.